Today, I'm going to share some of the best side hustle ideas specifically for moms. And really, these aren't even just side hustles, these are actual businesses that you can build and scale in about 20 hours per week or less while your kids are in school. And many of these have the potential to make between $2,000 and $4,000 per month. One thing I know so many stay at home moms feel is the struggle between not wanting to return to a 9 to 5, but also having that financial strain that comes from only having one income. As a business coach for Christian moms, I love helping moms find a business that lights them up and frees up their family financially. And in fact, a couple of these businesses are ones that I myself have built over the last 14 years of being an entrepreneur that has brought in several $1,000s a month for our family on the side in 20 hours per week or less. So, there are a few questions I want you to start thinking about and asking yourself that will help you be able to decide which of these side hustles, which of these jobs would be best for you in this season of life. So, the first is how many hours can you realistically work? And I would say that 10 hours per week is about the minimum that you can devote to building one of these businesses to be able to see good results. If you can have more like 15 to 20 hours per week, that would be probably the optimum number of hours to really be able to scale something into meaningful income for yourself. The second question is, do you want client work or not? This is very specific to you and your personality. So be thinking about, do you want something that you're a little more behind the scenes, or are you okay working with clients? The third question is, what are you naturally good at? What are your friends or family members constantly asking you to help them with? And specifically, what do you enjoy? So if you can find something in a niche that you're already good at, that you already enjoy doing, that is going to give you the best chance for success. There are four main categories of businesses that could work great for moms in 20 hours per week or less. So, we are going to dive into all four of those categories, and I'm going to give you examples of businesses that you can start and run in each of those categories, plus my advice for starting each of those and how to help you figure out which is right for you. The first category is service based businesses, and this is simply where you exchange a skill or service for pay. It's often one of the easiest to start and can have one of the quickest payoffs. So, several options for service based businesses. There's going to be some that are mostly online and some that are offline or more local. So, to start with a few online examples, you could be a virtual assistant. This is a great option for those of you who are very organized. Most businesses, as they grow, the very first hire they make is a virtual assistant. In fact, that was the first hire that I ever made, was adding a virtual assistant to my team. And you can really help business owners to be able to grow their businesses and kind of be their right-hand person. Another example would be a social media manager. So you could be in charge of social media for a brand or an individual who is trying to grow their account. And this would be one that you would probably want to have some sort of experience in, or something that you can show that you know how to create content that really gets views and conversions. Next would be a copywriter. If you are naturally gifted in writing, this could be a great option for you to be a freelance copywriter. There are so many businesses that would hire a copywriter for emails or social media or sales copy. Next is a bookkeeper. So, if you're naturally good at math, especially if you went to school for accounting or something like that, bookkeeping is a great kind of behind the scenes job that many businesses are looking for. Another option would be a podcast manager. So, podcast managers are going to take the audio that someone has recorded for their podcast and edit it, upload it. It's one thing that you can kind of learn once and just do over and over again. It's a very repeatable task. So, you may need to learn a little bit to get started, but it can be a really great option for stay at home moms. For some local or offline examples, you could be a house cleaner or a home organizer. You could do a laundry service or an errand service. You could even do a food prep service if prepping food is something that you enjoy. So for these options, I would definitely lean into something that you really enjoy doing already for your own family, that you're already good at, and you can just expand that into helping others in these day-to-day tasks. There are also several hybrid examples where part of the time you're going to be working from home and part of the time you're going to be out with a client. So, those examples would be something like a photographer or a videographer or a birthday party planner. These are things that may take a little bit more skill and learning up front. For example, I was a photographer for over a decade. It was an amazing career for me. I worked about 10 to 15 hours per week, brought in two, three, sometimes $4,000 per month. But it did take like a good year or two to learn all the equipment, to devote to practice and perfecting my craft. So it may need a little bit extra time up front, but it can be a really great long-term option. One of these service-based businesses could be perfect for you if you are reliable, very detail-oriented, if you don't mind working with clients, and if you want income a little more quickly. So now I'm going to give you some pieces of advice for getting started in these service-based businesses. First of all, I would get a couple clients that you could offer services to for free to get those testimonials that you can use to get new clients. I would make sure that these are people that are going to really value what you do and that you can trust are going to give you a quality referral. Next would be to spend some time nailing down your systems and perfecting your craft first. Specifically, if you were going to do something like photography, videography, podcast editing, things like that, I would make sure that you really know that what you're doing so that even on that very first client, they're going to want to refer you to their friends. I would also think about anything that you can do on a monthly basis, maybe a little more consistent for you than something that people hire you for only once a year. So, for instance, when I was a family photographer, many families would only hire me once or twice per year. So, I was constantly needing to get new clients to fill the rest of the months of the year. Whereas if you're a house cleaner or a VA, someone is typically hiring you to do a monthly or biweekly service for them. So you kind of have your client set up, you know what your income is going to be, and it can be a lot more consistent. Before we go any farther, I would love to know how much you would be thrilled to make from a side hustle or one of these part-time businesses. So let me know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to this as a podcast, maybe send me a quick Instagram message and let me know how much would really make a difference for your family each month. Okay, so now we're going to hop into content-based businesses. These are all the rage right now and can be very lucrative if you are willing to be very consistent and have possibly a little bit slower start. So some online examples would be a blogger, which I have done for a couple of years now. I have a travel blogging business. I would say that things with SEO and AI have changed a lot. So if you do want to get into blogging, I would make sure that you have other traffic sources and don't rely solely on Google. You're probably also going to need to have YouTube or Instagram that are pushing people to your blog. If you're curious how people make money blogging, it's usually a few different ways. Ads on blogs are a common way that people make money. So, for instance, you allow ad companies to place ads on your site, and for every 1,000 people that stop on your site, you're going to get paid a certain amount of money. Also, affiliate links. So, if you can write a post, maybe it's the best hiking shoes for kids, then you can put in an affiliate link saying you should buy these shoes, maybe on Amazon. And every time someone clicks on that link and buys the thing that you said, you get a small commission. So, those are just a couple of the options of ways to make money as a blogger. Next would be a YouTuber, and the monetization methods are pretty similar for a YouTuber as for a blogger. Even better if you have something that you can sell yourself that you have created, like a digital product. Next would be a podcaster. That's kind of along those same lines, or a TikTok or Instagram creator. Again, you're going to be making your money with possible brand deals or affiliate links. And some hybrid examples, so that are maybe online, but also local a little bit, would be something like a local mom's blog where you're exploring places in your town and then sharing them with people online, or a local food or lifestyle Instagram account. So these would be perfect for you if you enjoy sharing, storytelling, being in front of the camera, if you're patient with growth, because sometimes it can really take a while to gain traction. And if that is the case for you, you're not doing anything wrong. It's just takes some time. This could also be perfect for you if you want long-term scalability, and maybe if you already have a larger following, you're definitely going to have a head start. So, my advice for starting one of these content based businesses, again, is to have more of a marathon type mindset. It's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So, yes, things can go viral, but typically the way people grow are just slow and consistent, time after time, posting daily if it's social media, at least weekly if you're on YouTube, podcast, or becoming a blogger, and just really having that consistency over time. So, unless you only write, you're also going to need to be okay with being in front of the camera. And I would also just suggest to just start. If one of these is kind of stirring inside of you, something you've been thinking about for a long time, it doesn't have to be perfect to start. Just make that first post, record that first video, and go from there. I also just love the quote to fail faster. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid for a little bit of trial and error. You are going to grow more quickly if you're not afraid of failing. I would also suggest to make sure you have a monetization plan from the beginning. So don't just start posting on Instagram or YouTube or on a blog if you don't have a plan for how you're actually going to make money. You would be shocked at how many people have huge followings and really don't make hardly anything as a content creator. So make sure you know your game plan for how you're going to monetize. The third type of business that you could consider running would be a product based business. Now, again, this has online and offline options. So, some online examples of a product based business would be a business that sells templates, printables, courses, presets, something like that. And these can be amazing because they're often things that you make once and then you can sell over and over and over again. So it's not depending on you to make it fresh every time someone wants to buy. So it's work up front, but then it can really be some great passive income. Now, that's going to work best if you already have an audience to sell to. If you have no one to sell to, making presets or making a course isn't going to do much. So, on this type of business, you are also going to need to grow a following. So, some physical examples of these product based businesses would be something like a candle shop or a t shirt shop, baked goods, sourdough, kids' activity kits. And I would just suggest that you find something that you truly enjoy making because with these, you do need to hand make them every time unless you can figure out a way to automate. But it does depend on you to make each and every one. So make sure that you are okay with that and that it's something that you truly enjoy creating. These product based businesses could be perfect for you if you really enjoy the creative process and if you want to work a little bit more behind the scenes. So, my advice for getting started would include to making sure you have a plan of where you're going to sell, who you're going to sell to, and making sure you keep good financial records because sometimes in these businesses, it can get a little bit confusing on if you're actually making money, if you are pouring a lot of money into the making of these goods and purchasing the supplies to make your product. So just make sure that you are actually making the wage that you want to after all of your expenses have been accounted for. I would also do your market research first and make sure, is this even wanted in the market? And if there are others creating the same product, figure out a way to make yours unique and really niche in and find a way to differentiate yourself from others that are creating something similar. The fourth type of business that you could pursue would be an education based business. Now, this is one of my absolute favorites, of course, as a business coach. And there are lots of examples, both online and offline. Some online examples could be coaching either one on one or group coaching in a variety of fields, such as business, health, relationships, parenting. You could teach someone how to do a skill or craft on YouTube or through a course that you create. You could even create a membership if you really enjoy bringing people together in a community. I think that's something that's really taking off now as people are not just wanting to be in their phones, but wanting to have that real sense of community and learn something along other people that are learning the same things. Some local examples would be things like in person workshops, small group classes, tutoring, music or art lessons. And then, of course, there are hybrid examples as well, such as coaching, but then also doing local workshops or doing an online course and an in person intensive. This can give you some of that in person one on one help that people love, but then also allow you to run part of your business online from home. So, these can be perfect for you if people are always asking you for advice on something or asking you to teach them how to do something. If you really enjoy teaching and explaining things, and if you like seeing others go through a transformation and reach a really cool outcome. My advice for starting this type of business would be to think about the types of transformations that you've had in your own life that you could walk someone else through. Now, you don't have to completely be at the end of your journey. You just need to be a few steps ahead to help someone come along behind you and show them the way. I would also really lean into that transformation that you can offer them. And as you market, talk a little bit less about yourself and more about the outcome that they are really desiring. And that is what's going to pull them in and want to hire you as their coach or mentor. As you figure out which business is right for you, again, I want you to really think about what are you naturally good at? What are people always asking you for advice on? And what are you actually going to enjoy doing? Because I would love for you to build a business that is still running several years from now and where you've been able to set up systems and automate things where you're not working a ton of hours, but you've created this beautiful business that can help support your family and that you really, really enjoy running. I hope this video has started a little spark for you and given you some great ideas that you can think about for businesses that you can run from home in 20 hours per week or less while your kids are in school so that you can create really a full-time income from part-time hours and build a business that you love. If you want to be able to time collapse your growth and build your business faster, I would love for you to go to my website, which I will link in the description, and check out my VIP one-on-one coaching, where you will gain valuable accountability and a personalized action plan so that you're not left wondering what to be doing each day on your business. We will come up with the goals that you want to meet and exactly how to meet them in a short amount of time. These calls are every other week. They're one-on-one, so they can be tailored exactly to you and the business that you're growing. If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to subscribe so that we can meet again back here next week to continue to grow and scale your business.